After you have installed your zipper in the center front of your pants, you want to baste together the rest of the pants in order to fit them to your body. Now, it's probably a good idea to go ahead and stitch your darts, as I've already done here in the back, and then I went ahead and pressed them towards center back. Center back seam I have also sewn. Remember, your crotch seam, center front and center back around the curves, are at a 5/8 inch seam allowance. So I went ahead and did those and pressed that open for that set. We'll go ahead and re-demonstrate a dart real quick on this. Front will still need to be pressed after I sew it. But then all of your longer out seam down the side seam and the inseam on the inside of the legs, remember those are at 1 inch seam allowance. And it's a good idea to go ahead and mark those. Hopefully you did that at that stage right after cutting, because when you go to fit this on the body, if you're going to be marking a little bit in to take things in, or maybe a mark a little bit out to let things out, maybe through the hip area, and we'll mark it with a different pen, it's very easy to then be able to measure and see where adjustments are going to need to be made on your paper patterns to have a custom fit pattern when done. All right, so folding up my dart, I am matching up the top of my dart legs, which I just clipped very shallow at the edge up here. It's easier to then match them up, and folding down to this point. So I usually will take a pin, align my dart legs, and I'm also sewing my pants for my test fit with my darts towards the outside. That way, if I need to pin up a little bit more when I test fit it on myself, it's easier to grab the end of the dart or the excess of the dart and place my pins when doing that. I'll do the same thing with my seam allowances, but I'll show you that here in just a moment. If you will come with me to the sewing machine. This is good here. So let's get in place. And the darts, I went ahead and took my stitch length to about a 3.0 or maybe just a little bit past 3. It's a little more or a little shorter than the basting stitch. All right, and I went ahead and just back stitched without pulling that around, but you can see I just catch my excess, not really back on that stitching. But there I am on my marked line for my dart, pretty good on both sides. All right, if you'll give me just a moment to... All right, so after you have prepared your darts, you can then go ahead and sew up your side seams and the inseam on the pants. The instruction sheet does show you actually using pins to pin along this line. You can do that, that's okay for fitting. Although I do find it a little prickly to try on clothes with sharp points, and every now and then you're going to get stabbed in the leg. But go ahead and line your raw edges up here. You can pin it all together before you sew. Go ahead and find any notches to match up. Make sure you pin there. And then you can move over to your sewing machine. I would use a basting stitch on this because you will want to be able to remove it fairly quickly. And I know usually I say no, you don't need to back stitch with a basting stitch, but in this case, since we're going to be trying the garment on, we don't want the seam to spread open for us. So I would just go ahead and get this done. The pinning makes it so that you can usually stitch fairly quickly. I do apologize for the table vibrating the camera, and it probably is moving around a little bit on you. Maybe if I tighten that down, that might be a little better. Okay, on down. If you've marked things correctly and been careful when cutting out, when you go to try these on, any of your crotch line marks and your knee marks should line up across the side seams and down to your hem line. These are helpful for fitting the garment. finding out if you are symmetrical on both sides of your body, which most people are not. Most definitely it's shown in the shoulders, but occasionally if there is any curvature to the spine, one hip might be longer than the other. All right, so down the long seams. Now in this case, we are not going to worry about actually having to press the seams open. All right, my next video we will demonstrate the trying on of the pants and checking for some fit issues and seeing that. So get your darts prepared, center and back and center front seam at 5/8, and then your side seams, and let me move this up, let me flip this over, and the inseam. All right, the back leg is wider than the front because it's got more around the body to actually cover. And we actually have not stitched up the very inside part of our crotch seam. That we will kind of see how that lays for the fitting to find out if that needs to be adjusted. All right, go ahead and get yours sewn up.